Hello do-it-yourself hustlers. Today I'm going to show you all how to install one of these brand new 30-inch ductless range hoods. Let's get at it. Right, your typical range hood means you need some duct work, and it typically will run through your walls, your ceiling, your apartment, out the roof, out the side of the building, depending on what your setup is. It can be right smack dab in the middle of your cabinet. That's exactly what happened to this particular apartment. We're eliminating that. They got all this room right here that runs up overhead out the door to the patio. Don't want that. We're covering it up. Get me a nice new section to put in right there beside that so it looks all new. Some of these ain't too bad if it runs out the back and up and out. Makes more sense for them to do it that way. You really don't need an exhaust vent quite as big as what this one was, so I'm glad to be eliminating that. We still got our electrical wires right here running out, and what we're installing is going to be the 30-inch Broan range hood. As you can see, white on white, ductless. Circulates it into the fan and out into the apartment, into the house, whatever your living situation is. Easy to install, effective ventilation, bright 75 watt max cooktop lighting. Bulb, of course, is not included. Let's bust her out of the box here and give her a look. I'm sure no matter what type of house, apartment, mobile home, whatever it is that you live in, you might have something like this in it. You have basically got your filter right here along with your fan in behind it that runs non-stop. Here's your lights, so you can easily install your light bulbs. And if you look at this, you see all the mounting features right here. You got the holes where you can slide them on, get it lined up, get them in place if you'd like. Got different methods to where you can mount these things up. And here's what the top over looks like. Like I said, no ductwork. Now, of course, if you wanted to put ductwork in, you could knock this out and easily do that. You can knock this out. That's your knockout for that right there. And if you're not certain how to do certain things, it does give you some instructions for the installation of these. First thing you're going to want to do, though, is go ahead and take this filter off here. Just remove this latch. Pull this out because you don't want to be pushing up on your filter, get it all jacked up, and then get your fan all smushed up because it will drag and it will cause a very annoying sound. Next, raise it up there and make sure it's going to fit where you need it at. You should have measured it beforehand, but just in case, you never know. These things are very, very lightweight, so it's not going to take a world of effort to mount these things in to begin with. What I'm going to do is get this wiring out of the way, so I'm going to go ahead and get me a screwdriver. I'm going to get the screw out right here, pull this plate down, get it out of the way. Right here's your mounting hardware. Say when you're going to go in to get your wires, right there you go. You got this option for your knockout. You can knock that out, or you got this option on top where you can knock it out right there. Considering this is going to be flush up against the cabinet, we're going to knock out the back knockout. When you stand it up right, you can see it through the back right here. As you can tell right here, like I said, if you have ductwork and you're wanting to hook this up, this is the best way to do it. Run it through the back instead of running it through the ceiling. There is certain situations where the setup does require running it through the ceiling. In this case, it runs through this entire place outside, which is pretty ridiculous because that's a lot of ceiling space you're losing. But I digress. It is what it is. You got that option if you need it, if you want to hook it in and let it run outside. Otherwise, these things will run. Nobody will be none the wiser. Some of these, you can take your pair of linesmen and hit it from the inside out. Sometimes you can even take yourself a flathead screwdriver and just start pulling back on it, prying on it a little bit back and forth, and it will pop loose. As you can see right here, all I've done is kind of, you know, jimmied it back and forth with the screwdriver. Then you can take yourself a pair of pliers and stick on there, a good bite on it, and it should pop it right off here. It's barely held on there to begin with. Just wiggle it back and forth. There you go. You got the hole that you need. Get your wires out here. Make sure these things are turned off. There's no voltage on them. Just do yourself a favor and make sure of that. And then you feed the wires through. You put your lock nut here and lock it all in place. Take your nut, feed it over the wires, and then tighten it up on the threads. You get it pretty well locked in right there. Channel lock makes a tool that you can tighten those up with. Makes your life so much easier. Gardner Bender maybe has some down there at your local Lowe's that you can get put on there that works spectacular as well. Or you can find a reason to tell your spouse you need you a set of Nipex pliers because they are essential to getting a hold of these things and tightening everything up. And I tell you what, you really cannot beat the Cobras because they are great for 1,000,001 things. You need to tighten that up. Verify that you have, no voltage. That wire is live. See, that's why you always check to make sure you got voltage so you don't get electrocuted before you wire something up. Now we managed to find the breaker, test it again, power's off, now it's safe to work on it. Next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and address the ground wire here because somebody has cut it off. And we got that one hooked up, got our connection done. Gotta get yourself a wire stripper of some kind and go ahead and get your wires stripped. If they're already stripped and you can already see the copper, you'll be in good shape, ready to rock and roll. Got your two black ones here that are wired together. Next, all these, as you can see, it runs from one switch to another. Black is gonna be your hot. You got hot coming in and your wires coming through are jacked up. Make sure that you find out which one's the high leg, which is essentially the one that's got voltage coming through it. And then the white one's always the one going back. We proceed to go ahead and strip these wires down. Go ahead and twist them around it. Hold it in place, twist on your wire nut, make sure it's good and tight. Pull on it, make sure nothing's gonna come loose. And then you move on to the next one, get the other one hooked up the exact same way. If you have wire nuts on there and they're nice and tight the way they should be, then you can do it just like so. Twist it around in there. Make sure it's gonna be behind your cover. You can install your cover now. And you secure your fastener. Mount everything up, we want to make sure the electric works, so we're going to go ahead and pull this out. Have an appliance bulb, something like this right here. Screw it in. Reach around here to our switches. We're going to check the light. We're going to check the fan. Right there is low. There is high. The power's good to go. Now we're ready to get everything mounted back up. Some people, depending on how you install this, you might have took an old one out, be putting them right into the exact same cabinet. You might be able to take them out and mount them up the same way your old one come out. It really depends on what it is that you're doing. But if you're putting this in on brand new cabinets, it also depends on the type of cabinets that you're using and if they're installed correctly. Now, the way you can do this is mount it up. Like I said, some people just simply run the screw holes through it. That's the simple way to do it. I experienced a lot of maintenance technicians that I've seen that work for places. They do it the simplest, cheapest way possible, but I prefer doing something right or not doing it at all, if at all possible. I mean, it will work because this thing's not that heavy. You simply put your screw holes through it, run it through wherever you need to, hook it up to the top of your cabinets, you're ready to rock and roll. But there's two different types of cabinets, okay? You got the cabinets that is flat on the bottom, be nice and smooth like this right here. They do provide brackets for that, or they got cabinets like this right here. You see how you got this ledge? Okay, so you can't really just run screws through that without running them through the bottom of your cabinet. You don't want to do that. You don't want to ruin your brand new cabinet, which is why they provide hardware. Okay, you got a flat cabinet, give you these flat brackets right here. This is your hardware to mount everything up with, your mounting hardware, and it tells you right on the hardware. If you're on a flat cabinet and you look at this one, it tells you lean on the rear wall. It tells you that this is the one that goes on the right and this goes in the front. You're going to lean it on this rear wall. You're going to put it all the way over here. And right there's where you're going to want to mount it up at, on the bottom of a flat cabinet. Like I said, flat cabinet, like so. They give you tiny little screws so it will not purge all the way through your cabinet. In this situation, we got a completely different type of cabinet, so we're going to be using these brackets. We pick it up, same thing here. It tells you to lean this up against the wall. It's the one on the right, and this goes in the front. So you bring it over here, and you lean it up against the wall, and right there you go. It shows you how it gets installed. Now you hold it up there, just like it shows you. Okay, it's on that ledge at the bottom of the cabinet. Everything's right where it needs to be at. You run your screws through the side right there and anchor it into your cabinet on both sides. I shouldn't have to record this part of the video. That's something you should know what I'm talking about. So let's go ahead and do that. I've got the hardware anchored in. The bracing is right here. I've only got 2 screws in it on each side. Now we're going to want to test fit everything, make any adjustments that we need to make before we fasten everything down. That way if you need to adjust something, you can, and test fit it. Make sure it sits where you need it at. Look through it. Right here is where it's going to hook into, as you can see. As you get back through here, the fasteners will line up so you can run fasteners into the bracket itself, the hardware that holds everything up. As I mentioned earlier, if you've done this beforehand, you could have held it up here, went ahead, marked your holes in the back. That way you could put you some drywall anchors in. Then you could fasten everything up top, and you could fasten it in through the back, and it won't go anywhere. You've test fitted it and all that. You pull it out, you put all the other fasteners back in. Now you can take it and slide it up on there, knowing where it's going to go. The hooks should go right here on each side of this. And then you simply slide them in place, push it all the way back. They're in there good. And if you look right here, you can put a fastener through one of those 3 holes. You're going to put a fastener through that back hole. You can even put one through those holes right there. There you go. Everything is fastened down both sides. Now we're ready to install our light cover and your filter. All you got to do is stick it right here. Put up here. Move this clip. There. Test that. Make sure the fan's not dragging. Nothing's dragging. It's good to go. Light cover, same thing. All you gotta do, head into the side right here and then squeeze it. Pops it in place. There we go. Lights on, fans working. The range hood, my friends, is installed. There we go. That's how you install these range hoods. I want to thank everybody who tuned in here today. If this video helped you out, make sure you comment down below, let me know. But check out the channel because we got a wide variety of things here for you to choose from, whether it's industrial machine, commercial equipment repair, masonry work, tool reviews, tool store tours, how to do-it-yourself videos, and much more. You can check out all the stuff I do on all these other social media platforms, see these tools in action doing real-world repairs. Until next time, make sure to keep doing that blue-collar hustle.